Well, hello everyone. This is Smithers. This is not an episode of the main series, really. This is more just kind of a tutorial slash let's build. Today, what we're going to be building is we're actually going to be building a teleport pad. Now, ooh, spooky Minecraft music. Now that it sounds easy, with command blocks. And if you're familiar with command blocks let you extend the functionality of the Minecraft world. But we're building something a little bit cooler today. When I say teleport pad, I mean something that's kind of a little bit showy, a little bit flashy, and that involves a little bit of creativity and ingenuity. So this is just going to be kind of an organic build, right? Kind of a let's play. So let's talk about what we're building today. Today we are essentially going to be building what will feel like a mechanism. And so in order to do this, we're going to need a couple types of blocks on hand just to get started. I'm going to start off with some glass and a beacon. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this centered here because I like circular builds as much as possible. What we're going to do is go down a couple blocks and lay out just enough blocks for a beacon to run, just a small beacon, right? And get some glass in there, right? This is going to be the center of our teleport pad. Now, to keep this whole thing lit, we're going to use some glowstone because this isn't always going to be running. Let me grab some glowstone here. Right. We're just going to surround it on all four sides, just like this, right? Okay. Now around that, we're going to have some redstone lamps. And the purpose of the redstone lamps is actually to function as an indicator of whether or not this thing is about to fire or not, right? Okay, so we'll just put this here, here, here in kind of a circle. Now what these lights are also going to indicate is the range in which you have to stand near this teleporter in order to actually be teleported. Now, this isn't quite the height I want, but this, illustrates the general effect. The idea is you come in, hit a button, have a device, whatever. I might key this to a specific item, maybe. But you come in here, you hit a button, and you stand within the circle. The lights turn on. A couple seconds later, the beacons turn on. And another second or so later, you actually teleport, whoosh, to the town, in this case, right? Now, this is a special case. Let me give you a little background on this environment. When we moved the server, when we moved the town, there were a couple people who had some interesting projects outside of the town. This person, for instance, was converting this village to be entirely underground. So they were building a large, cavernous underground village. And they wanted it in a similar biome to the one that they were working in. So I was like, okay. So I went out and found one and started to go into MC Edit and just blend it in. So it's a pretty good blend. I mean, this is from an amplified world. I kind of went in and chopped it off and smoothed it out. Some areas blend better than others, but this is basically where it's going to be. So, but it's really, really far from our town and where all his resources are. So I'm building him his own custom teleport pad out here. Now everybody else, I'm going to be using the teleport library. I think I've talked about that in another video. If not, we'll probably talk about it maybe in this video, maybe in another one. But that's basically what we're building today. Now, this is a teleport pad, and so I like it to have some definition as far as where it starts and where it ends. So let's add a border to all this. All right, let's go here. I think, I have this nifty sword I made, and I really like the sword, so I'm probably just going to start using my ender chest. All right, this is where I keep all my super awesome private OP swords and things, but that will be really handy. I'm going to stick a command block in there, too. Yeah. Okay. Doink. So, what we're going to do is we're going to outline where this pad will actually be, right? And I'm going to move all these blocks up one, but this is just kind of laying out the idea of where things are and where I want them to be. So this isn't too permanent at all. So, looks good. We're just gonna make this into probably a circle. I've been doing circles a lot lately. You know, for a long time in Minecraft, I was on this kick where I was building just square buildings constantly, and I realized, you know what? My builds are boring. I don't want to build squares anymore. So I'm just like, I'm gonna do circles now. I don't like the jaggedness of Minecraft all that much. I mean, I appreciate the aesthetic, but when I'm building a large structure and I want it to be round, I want it to look round. Well, you can't always do that. So this has just been kind of my way of getting past that particular hang-up. All right, just moving all this up. Now I'm actually going to be taking out quite a few of these blocks because they're not really, they're kind of in the way as I'm building this right now. So these are going to ultimately go, but I'm just outlining the pad so that I can continue on with the build. All right, nice little pad, Not so circular, more of like a pseudo-circular thing. Maybe I can fix that. Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to be talking or making a ton of sense this episode because this type of thing really takes a lot of thought. So I'll probably be building kind of furiously for a few minutes and then, jump in with a little explanation of what I'm doing. Because this is not the easiest way to build Minecraft. Most of Minecraft, you just kind of sit there, you look at it, you realize you don't like it, you make a few changes, no big deal. And you can generally talk while you do it, but not this stuff. Redstone in general, as anybody will tell you, is highly technical. This stuff is absolutely no different. You kind of have to have good spatial awareness as well as good logic skills. So this is going to be quite the test of just being able to keep track of everything. So I think I may keep the beacon where it is for now. Right. This will be my blocks. I'm going to use lapis to mark these out at the moment. All right, let's make sure my brightness is up. Last thing I need is for it to get dark, because it is going to get dark. Because this is going to be a long build process today. Not too long. I just got done actually building in the companion portal to the one that we're building here today. But I knew what I was doing with that one, and it still took a while. But I was just mainly brushing up so I wouldn't hiccup and make a bunch of dumb mistakes here today. Now, if the audio is off, I do apologize for that. I'm experimenting with this microphone and just using the speakers to pick up any kind of extra sound inside of Minecraft. I did a test. It sounded okay. You'll have to tell me if you like it or hate it. Big reason I'm doing it this way today. I really hate headphones. I find them extremely uncomfortable. So I'm not really inclined to wear them if I don't have to. So if I can get away with not wearing them for now, that would be great. They're just uncomfortable in my head. I don't like things on my head. I don't wear hats. I don't know. Maybe it's because I used to play a lot of Half-Life, and there were the head crabs. And yeah, I realize that sounds kind of neurotic, but I mean head crabs, right? I don't like them. They scared the willies out of me when I was playing Half-Life way back in the day. So don't particularly like them here. So now what I'm doing, these lapis blocks are actually going to occasionally switch between air and redstone blocks. And I want to put my redstone lines essentially right here where they're definitely not going to interfere. Now, it may or may not interfere. I don't really care. I don't want them to interfere. I don't want them to touch. I want them to be a good distance away from each other. So I want some ground clearance. Now, the other reason I want some clearance here in terms of where I'm putting my redstone, my command blocks, is because I don't want any griefing or creepers to cause issues with this later. It's just not ideal. There's nothing worse than cleaning up a redstone job. I mean, if a creeper detonates, they're not going to destroy the command blocks. There's just no way that that happens. I don't have to worry too much about that, but I don't want it to ever become even close to an issue. So that's kind of the impetus there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect all of these command blocks into what is essentially a function. And if you're familiar with scripting or JavaScript, for instance, functions are groups of commands that all happen together. So I guess I'll do a quick example of that here. All right. So in this book, you might have something where if you're having a function that gets called every single frame, and this is similar to a tick. So we have function, and this might be update if you're using Unity, and then you'd have an argument, and you'd open up your function, right? And you would have command, done. Command, and this would be a different command, and done. And one more command, done. And then you would, finish off your function with another curly bracket. So that's the basics of what a function looks like, right? It's a thing that happens. So if, in this case, if I were to go in and add some type of power source to this, like a redstone block, right? All at once, each of these command blocks is going to fire up because they're powered, right? And that's exactly what happens here. Excuse me. Here, on every frame, this happens. Right? So when this function is called, this is a list of stuff that happens. Now, a function works slightly differently, or slightly different in that commands are executed from here, here, and here. So this is a way of making everything happen at the same time. If I were to lay out these blocks linearly and have redstone running along the top of them, that would be a bit more accurate to an update function. But that's basically what we're doing here today. So, all right, now what each of these is going to do, I'll just go ahead and dig this out so I can access these from the side. And I am going to be digging down in this tutorial. I mean, the best place to put all this stuff is down below. I'm not going to bother surrounding this in Bedrock because I think, if you're going to be playing this game, you kind of got to be sensitive to what's there. And this is really here to be good and useful for everyone, so I don't really care that this is exposed to the other players, for instance, because other players aren't OPs, they can't edit these blocks. So what I'm going to do in each one of these blocks is going to use what's called a set block command. That's going to be set block, and we're going to use relative positions. That's with tildes, right? And each one of these is basically saying relative to where this block is, we're going to set the following block. And in order to pick the block, we're going to go Minecraft : the block that we want. In this case, I'm going to have this be a redstone, pardon my typing here, underscore block. Right? Now it's important to remember here, most things, if it's a item that you can have in the game, and then you can form that into a block, it's always going to be redstone block, or gold block, or diamond block. Right? Now, this is going to be 2 up, so I'm going to go 2, and this is relative to where this block is. If I just put these numbers in here, it would go second block in the world, relative to where this block is, make it redstone block. And I don't want that, right? So if I go in with a button, right, we'll just grab a button. It's going to be with my Midwestern accent. Right? Go click. And, oh wait, I gotta turn off the current. Okay. And click. Look at that. Now, see that right there? That's exactly what we don't want, right? It's firing off our redstone. So what this tells me is I actually don't want this here. I'm going to have to move these blocks down a little bit. Now, conveniently, this tells us how to copy and paste code between blocks. The easiest way, go under your command block, hit Control-A and Control-C, and that copies it to your clipboard. So I can go ahead and just destroy that block, replace it, and copy and paste in my code. Now it's important to remember I moved it down 1 block, so I have to adjust my number for that. In this case, it's 3. So I'm going to go ahead and select everything and copy that block again. Right? We'll go in, destroy this block. Actually, no. No, I don't need to do that. Silly me. I'm changing the lapis block. See, that's why I don't put blocks where I want to change them. That's just silly. I forgot about that. My bad. Well, now we know how to copy and paste code between commands. And it does need to be 3, so I don't feel totally dumb on the internet. So, here we go. And click. Look at that. Fires off 1 redstone pulse. And just like magic, the lamp is on. Now, for each one of these, we're actually going to repeat that exact same line of code. Every single one of these. Now, if you're going to be doing a lot of redstone, it's sometimes good to turn off your redstone feedback, your command sets, so when these things actually happen, click, it tells you all the blocks get placed. Now, if you're an OP, that can be pretty annoying because you're basically finding out every bit of command block code that's happening at once, and that you don't need that. I mean, if you're setting daylight timers or setting something constant to happen in the world, it'll happen repeatedly. So it is good to shut that off. Now we'll go over how to do that at some later date, but right now, for all intents and purposes, this is good to go. So I'm just going to leave this like this. But what I am going to do is I'm going to create a shutoff function. Now, what I mean by that is I'm going to create a command block that will actually turn off this whole system, right? So instead of using this here button, I'm actually going to change this block to redstone. This is going to create a redstone current, which will fire this off. So if I get rid of this block, get rid of a few of these, and place this block, you'll notice that the redstone blocks get replaced. So right here, I am actually going to set another command block, right? And this one is going to be another set block, so I'm just going to copy and paste in what I have. And I'm going to set it so that the block next to it will change to a lapis block, which I believe is a -1. We'll see if I'm right about that. I'm just going to change redstone to lapis. Now I use lapis because I like to know that something works. So if I change this to redstone, look at that. For a second, for a brief second, this is a redstone block, but we'll watch everything pop into existence. Right. So what we've done is create an auto shutoff system. The reason we create that auto shutoff system is because if this is still on, if it's already on, it cannot have another redstone pulse, right? So if this is already fired up, let's do an example over here, right? Turn these off, put in a redstone pulse. This one gets a pulse, right? Because it's not connected with the repeater, but this does not fire off, and we don't want that. So we have to make sure that this is insulated against any other redstone current. So this has to be a separate circuit, essentially. So now we'll just go ahead and place that. Nope. Quick double tap. And bam, right? Lights come on. So that's sequence number 1. So as I am going to set my control panel to get this whole sequence going, this is my start right here, right? So this block is going to have to change the redstone block through another command that is accessible up here. So what I want to have next is I want to set it up so that there's a small delay between when this when the lights turn on and when this block up here changes from what will be gold to glass, right? Now, to do that, I'm going to want to dig down a little bit, not like down, like just dig down, just to make a little extra room. Now, I want to have a 2-block gap between any redstone and anything else. So that tells me, to be on the safe side, I'm going to put my other set of command blocks right here. So let's just go ahead and dig this out real quick. Right. Turn off that overlay. I know the overlay is a little annoying, but when you're editing with command blocks and doing set block commands, it's really, really handy to have your debug screen up and running. I cannot emphasize the usefulness of that enough. So let's see. Yep. Go there. And you know, you might go, oh, there's coal here, there's coal here. I don't care. I mean, really, there is resources all over this world. And I'm an OP. I'm in creative mode. What do I care? You know, if the player who's over here is really concerned about coal, I will give them coal. Alright. I'll give them so much coal they will choke. But I'm not going to do that, because I like them. I like my players. They're fun to play with. I really enjoy the people that are on this server. And they're just kind of a joy to work with. So I wouldn't want to prank anybody. And that's kind of the trick to being a site administrator or an OP is you have to be fairly even-handed with your people and what you're going to do. So you kind of have to play by the rules, enforce things, and just be an honest, okay person whenever you can. So, all right, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead, since I'm here, I'm not going to work on the delay, the next section of this. I'm actually going to work on the function that will turn off each of these lights, right? Because if we turn them on, we want to turn them off, because they don't just turn off automatically. The blocks are there. And this is largely a silent system, so we're just going to make this as smooth as we possibly can. So what we're going to do is just to go again around and put redstone on each of these surfaces, so we have a nice call where all of this will happen at once. It's possible to do this sequentially if you wanted. If you wanted, you could just put repeaters in here with a little bit of delay on them, and it would slowly turn them on in a circle and turn them off in a circle, and maybe that might be something to experiment with, but I don't want to do that right now. I want these all on, all off, and that's just the easiest way to develop this system each time. So let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 is our magic number. Now in this case, I want this to be air. I like using air when possible for these commands. I use lapis initially, but for regular deployment, I use air, because what you don't want to do is create a fountain of forever creating blocks, right? That's not really useful. So I never use diamond for this, because people will just go and rip this thing apart and use it as a diamond generator, and that's not cool. So that's what we're doing here, just making sure that it works. So we've got this one set here. So if I fire this off with a button, ta-da, lights turn off. So I know that function works. Let's see, where am I? Yep. Okay. So I'll go through each one of these, copy, done, and just paste that in every other command block, right? We're just using repetition here. The function to get this working is really super simple. Once you've got one, you just keep on doing the rest. All in a circle until you get sick and just throw up slime balls. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Right, I'm going to copy in this code. Now this is just me being clever, right? I'm putting everything on the same side. So now I can create a command block that here, again, we'll use relative coordinates. When this is powered, it will change it to a lapis block, right? So if I want to delete everything, boop, and lights are off. Lights are on, lights are off. Look at that. And that's just a simple toggle. We're just creating two systems that will turn everything on and turn everything off. So it's a really, really handy tool so far, isn't that? I like it. All right. So now we're going to go in and create that delay. Now what we need to do with that is we need to make sure that we can trigger that. So we're going to create some room, and we're going to create just a small delay. I'm going to dig down, right? I'm just digging down. No big deal here. Now I could dig out if I want, right? On each of these levels, I could just go way over here and dig out as much as I want near the surface. But I don't like to do that. What I tell people is, at the surface of one of these things, pretty much just don't dig past that, and you'll be a-okay. You know, that way I don't have to come swooping in and fixing everything. You know, oh my gosh, Smithers, everything's broken. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I just go in, fix it. No big deal. You know, but I just find if you're clear about your building methods and where you put what, everything generally works out just fine. All right, so maybe go down one more just to be safe. And leave a 2-block gap between everything, because that's just safe. It gives you a little wiggle room, right? Now what I'm going to do, make sure I have my starting point here, is I'm actually going to, let's see, where do I want to put this? I'm going to keep going this way. Now I'm going to do something a little odd. Let's dig that in. I'm going to dig a little tunnel over here, right? And this is just a tunnel for some repeaters. Now, what I'll do is I'm actually going to replace this block with a command block. I'm going to use my set block command, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 down. Yep, 3 down. So I'll go -3. All right. And I'm going to change this to a red stone block. Lowercase b. There we go. Right? So now when I fire this thing off, grab that. Right. This shutoff sequence, in this case, triggers right down here. Very handy, right? Okay, so this is going to be my shutoff sequence. Actually, really what this should be my start sequence. I'm going to do this a little differently here. Hang on a second. I'm going to swap this block here. This is just, you know, me kind of designing as I go. I build this thing a little different every time. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So this is going to be same thing. Redstone block. I'm going to go -6 on my y-axis. Now, if you don't already know, your tilde positions, your inputs here, go X, Y, and Z, and that directly equates to your. I can't even show you X, Y, and Z up in the upper left-hand corner. Actually, I might be able to do this. Hang on. Yes, X, Y, and Z. Right. Right. Okay. So now if I fire this off, after I re-redstone it, yep. Okay. So what this does is this creates a current, right? And what we're going to do with this, make a little headroom here. OCD. We are going to actually create a small delay, right? And we're just going to circle back to another command block, probably right here, okay? So we're going to go in, we're going to grab a repeater. Go here, 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 and here. And this is going to be a really quick one, right? We're not messing around. I don't know how many ticks it is, but right there. See? Now it's powering it. Now, what I want is I want this to be a pulse. So I'm going to, first off, create a little delay here. Actually use the delay on the repeaters. The farther these two are apart, the longer the delay. The more of them are, the longer the delay. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I've done in the past, right? Cancel that. Select all. Copy. Right. I'm going to create another command block that will auto shut this off, right? Because I just want a pulse. Now, what that's going to create, actually I'll just do this with a lamp real quick so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Right now, this block is on, and that's all it is, right? It's just steady on, and I don't want that because the same thing happens. If this continually has a current, it'll only happen once, and that's not what we want at all. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to turn this into a lapis block, but since this block is on the other side, I'm going to change this from a negative to a positive value. Now it won't work the first time, but watch what happens. We're going to change this to a redstone block, and you're going to see two things happen simultaneously. You're going to see this turn into a lapis block, and you're also going to watch a pulse that will flash this on for just a second. Ta-da! And that's our signal, right? So, this is going to actually go in and change. This will become a command block. This up here to glass, which will in turn allow us to have the beacon fire off in the air, right? So this is going to be a really cool effect. Lights turn on, beacon fires off, and then we teleport. And that's pretty cool. Now, if you want, you can do like a lightning strike too, but only people who are there are going to see it, so I may not add that to this particular teleporter, because you never know if you had a creeper by accident. That would be bad. Have a creeper waiting for you when you get back. So, to do this, I'm going to have to do a little experimentation, right? I'm going to look at my values, and I'm going to have to see, you know, when I move back and forth, am I adding or subtracting? In this case, I'm subtracting to this number. So when I use my set block command, I'm subtracting on the X, and I'm going to move out, I don't know, -3. I'm just going to change it to a lapis block for the moment. Right? And look at that. It's 3. Now this is centered, but I actually need this to be over 1. So I'm going to take a look at where this block is, and I'm going to watch my Z value here and see if it either adds or subtracts. In this case, it subtracts a number. Now you might go, well, hey, Smithers, it went from 59 to 60. Well, it went from -59 to -60. That's actually subtraction. So we're going to go ahead and put in a negative value here, -1. Now we should see a block right here. Look at that. All right, so from here, we're actually going to count how many blocks up we have to go. So starting here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this is going to be positive 10. Right? So this at this point, this gold block at the top here should change. Woohoo! All right. So that looks great. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just change this from lapis block to glass. Now I could go colored glass if I like, but I don't really mind the color of the regular beacon. So we'll fire that up. And if the beacon were fully powered, right, this thing would light up. Just like that. Now I'm gonna leave this off because it's kind of annoying to deal with at first. But what's kind of cool here is you can actually, you know what? I'm gonna turn this on because I want you to see the effect we're going for, right? Okay. So let's turn our lights off. So we're gonna change out this block. Right. And now, if we fire this off, we should see a string of events that sees this block become glass. So let's see if we can do this quick enough and see it. Lights are on, and it changes, and beacon goes on. Look at that, our whole effect is running. So that's pretty nice so far. So that's good. So we're going to just turn this off right now. It'll make it easier to generally fly around and get stuff done. So that looks great, right? Now, we are also going to have to put in a teleport block. So what we'll do here is we'll add in another delay. Now, I think I have enough room to go a little, yeah, I got some room to go in, another direction here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in another short delay. Now, this is 5 of these. And so in this case, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right? We'll just put another command block in there, and I'm going to set that to the exact same delay. Right? So it's a 5-second delay and a 5-second delay. So you'll have, or 5 repeaters worth of time. I don't know how much that is actually. I should really check here. Let's go. All right. 1. Yeah, about a second, right? Half second, give or take. But it creates a nice little pulse. So this right here is going to trigger my teleportation. Now the teleportation, I'm actually going to move this up 1. The teleportation, you can set this so that you're checking for specific blocks, but I find that to be a little inefficient and annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put our command block here, and this is our teleport block, right? So we would set this to TP. In this case, I'm going to use relative numbers because I don't want to get suddenly moved. I just want the feedback in the console. So I do have to specify a name or a selector. So that's going to be, I'm going to change this to @all. So the way this reads is this is the teleport command, TP. @all says everybody, and this says move them relative to where they are. In this case, I'm going to leave these as tildes, which means I'm not going to move at all, but I am going to get feedback that it fires off. Later, I'm going to set this so that it only grabs people within a certain radius, but we'll do that later. I want this to give me feedback now. Okay. So now we have to basically take a look, and let's see, this was -3, so it's positive back this way, and -1, so it'll still be -1. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. This will be -1, lapis block, set block, and I'm going to remove this repeater for just now. We just want to test this function. Alright, good. So, if this was -3, it will be positive something in the same direction. Probably 3, actually. So we'll just set this to +3, and that should land, yep, our block right there. So you see how that was 1, 2, 3 from where this one was. And we know it was here because this was -1. Now, same thing. We're going to have to count how many up this is. So I'm just going to start from the top here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's going to be 6. All right. So when I hit this, let's just make sure that works. Yep. And our lapis block goes back. So if I go back in and change this to redstone block, watching my console. All right. Placed a block, and you can see down in my feedback, it teleported me to exactly where I was, which is awesome, right? Okay. So, just like everything else here, I need to make sure that this block shuts itself off because I don't want this to be left there. I can't have that happening. And the easiest way to do that is just like I've done it everywhere else. I can just grab this code, make sure I place this block in the exact same position relative to this block, right? So this one is red, this one is red, this one will go here, and get the exact same type of code. So now, when I go in and fire this block off again, it teleported me, because you can see the teleportation, and it also turned it to a regular, plain old block, which is awesome. All right, so that is looking great. So let's see if we can do this all in one go. We'll delete this. And all right, let's turn off our blocks. Yeah, you don't need to be there. Sorry, just thinking out loud. All right. So fire it off, like so. Lights go on. Should probably change that. Hang on. Okay. We don't have a cleanup function here, so I have to reset everything. Alright. Turn off our lights. Alright, lights are off. Beacon is covered. We have no teleportation in our queue. So we'll just switch it. Lights go on. Beacon changes. And teleport happens. Alright, so our teleport is working. Teleporting to the exact same place. But we now need to set up this whole thing to clean itself up. Well, this is actually a little less complicated because the cleanup, the whole thing can just shut off at once. That's instantaneous. So down here, we wanted a little bit of visual delay. Well, when we're shutting down, we can just shut it down slowly the old-fashioned way. Especially because, you know, as soon as they leave, as soon as the teleport happens, these chunks are going to unload, and this stuff could end up looking kind of weird. So, to be quick about it, what we can do is use this event. It's the exact same thing. Remember, this is a redstone event, right? Turns to redstone, powers this block and this block, which means that I can use this as a trigger. So I'm going to say, all right, let's place this here. I'm going to use our set block code, and let's take a look at what we got. So in our XYZ, if I move back and forth, I am, let's see, I am subtracting if I move this way, right? So I'm going to subtract on the X by 1. So this is negative, or I'm sorry, on the X. Long day. And I'm going to go up and change the top one by 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to go set this to 4. Good. And we're just going to cause a mini event here. Just going to cause this to trigger. All right. So this changes this block to whatever block I want. Now I'm going to leave this as lapis right now because I think lapis actually doesn't look half bad in this case. Like, I don't want every teleporter to look the same. Although lapis is useful, but it's abundant enough on this map, so let's not worry about it. All right. Next thing I need to do. Actually, you know, that might be. Oh yeah, I have to trigger basically this function here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another command block here. Right. And we're going to make that work over here. So that's going to be a positive shift. So this will be 1, 2, down. So that's -2. And just get rid of this for the moment. All right. It's 1, 2. And this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on our x-axis. 5, and this will change it to a redstone block. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run a test here. We should be able to see it on the screen right here. And lights are off. All right. Well, heck, I think this is looking pretty good. Let's see. Let's see if we can make this a round trip. All right. Okay, so we're going to do the teleport. Now, I know, because I have been working with this for a little bit, I know that where we want to go is actually a specific location. So I'm going to go, first off, let's set the radius. So this is going to create a radius in which we're going to grab whoever's around us. So we're going to grab everyone within r equals 5, right? So the brackets create parameters. So when we say everyone, we're limiting that to a radius, which is r, which equals 5 blocks in any direction. Now this might be big, this might be small. Not worrying about it at the moment. But I know the coordinates that I want in my village, or our town, to get back home, is 16, 90, 66, and 1966. Make sure we separate that. These must be separate in order for this to work. So these are the exact center of the other teleport in the other town. So we'll hit done. And this is actually going to be fairly important here. I'm going to grab the coordinates for this location and write them down on my handy dandy high-tech piece of paper. So that's 83, negative 60. All right. So now, if I fire this off, I should actually get teleported. So here we go. Beacon. Oh, good. Well, pretty good. It teleported me without turning... Oh, well, the beacon couldn't be on because it wasn't on. So that's perfect. All right. That means now I can go in and enter the coordinates for the other place on this teleporter. Now, this one is a little similar. I'm actually building kind of near someone, so I blocked this off and put it way down below so that people wouldn't run into any issues. So let's go in and change this teleport to our actual location. We're going to set a radius again. Use our square brackets. R equals, and let's say, I think it's like 9 for this whole square of people. So that should be okay. So we'll go ahead and hit our coordinates, which are actually a little bit up from here. It's not totally surprising. Negative 60. Okay. So, go out, replace this, and hit our teleport button. Alright. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so that worked. That's awesome. So this teleport is essentially functional. The only thing we need to do now is set up a actual switch to do the job, right? So I'm going to keep it relatively simple. I'm going to make it approachable from here. So we'll just stick this block right there. And we will do the set block command. Now this is going to be a little bit trickier because I kind of have to place it here. So from where this block is, right, it's going to be down 1. So that's on this level here. 1, 2, it's negative 2. We're going to do this piece by piece. Let's do lapis blocks right now. So it's a little easier. Negative 2. Alright. And just delete this just so we can see feedback as it happens. Right. So to make sense of this, I'm going to need to go, how far over are we? You are, sorry about all the up and down here. It's making you sick. Makes me a little sick sometimes too. This is 1 over from here. It's basically on the step. So this is here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And that's 4 on the, alright, 4 on the X. Now we need our Y value, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is going to be positive 6 on the Y. Alright. Okay, so let's give this sucker a shot. I'm going to get out of its radius because I don't really want to get teleported. So place the block. Alright, well, wouldn't teleport me now, would it? Alright, so that placed the block in the right position. So I can change this to a redstone block. Alright. And we'll just stick a redstone block right on it. Doors up. On. And go. All right. Now we are talking. Okay, so all that leaves me to do is I'm going to go ahead and incorporate this. No, I'm not going to incorporate that. That's dumb. I don't want to do that. Nope. I'm just going to put a fancy little block on top of it with a button to press. Now, I think I'll just cover this for the moment so I can stand there. We might have to calibrate this a little bit. I might be a little off in my number grabbing. We'll see. So I'm going to hit that button, get in the center, and I'm off by a little bit. Let's see, what am I off by? It's 89.90. No? That's right. 90, 1690. Yeah, it seems to be okay. Try that again. That's 60. Oh well, can't be, can't get everything perfect. I'm probably just gonna leave it here. It feels a bit more organic. I could if I'm OCD, but I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not. All right. Now, as I'm finishing this off, there's a couple things I want to keep in mind. First off, I need to do one of two things. Either light this thing or completely fill it in. I'm going to go ahead and light it because I think that's usually the best option. And people can come in here and they can always cheat and they can grab resources if they like. And that's choice. And it's not a particularly good choice, but that's what people like to do sometimes, and I'm not going to stop them. I put things in the world for their benefit, and if they don't like it or don't appreciate it for what it is, then they can do that. But I build things the way I build them so that they work well, so that there's no problems in the future. And sometimes people don't really respect that, and there's nothing I can do. So I just try and make it work, try and help out. People don't want to play ball. That's totally their thing. I cannot fix that. So let's see. Almost ready. Looks good. Okay. So you can pretty much run here, hit, and go. Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, hey, thanks guys for joining me. If you have any questions about what I was doing or anything related to command blocks or whatever, go ahead and leave a comment. Send me a message if you like. If you really like this video and you want to see more videos of this type, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, just if you like the video, leave a like. That's always appreciated. We will catch you all later.